to the CopBlock Radio Show live on LRN.FM, and you can download this as a podcast from CopBlock.org later on. And tonight, I'm your host, Eric, and with me tonight I have Scott and Derrick J.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Hey, man, how are we doing?
Excellent.
Everything's good, man. So,
we put out the call for looking for more co-hosts, and we're at the local strategized meeting for activists, and I said that we were looking for a co-host, and Derrick J's like, hey, I totally want to come on, so that's why we've acquired him.
I'm free on Wednesdays, and I love to talk about what's going on in the world of the police state. You know, there's lots of news that I don't get to cover on Peace News now because it's just not very happy, and there's not any peaceful resistance going on. But it's still important to talk about. So here I am.
Thanks, man. We're very happy to have you. It'll be nice to have a third co-host and have somebody such as yourself. Man, you've been doing awesome so far.
Thanks. You know, I've got issues myself with cop blocking here with the Keene Police. They've blocked me from receiving a concealed carry license. I was hoping we would be able to talk about that today, but also I know what's more pressing is our friend Ademo was mentioned on Fox News.
How funny was that?
I was cracking up. I had to watch it twice. I couldn't believe when Megyn Kelly said, let me check my note cards here. Ademo Freeman says he's a two-time victim of the war on drugs, and then she laughed. She gave this nasty cackle. Couldn't believe that someone would be a victim of the war on drugs.
She said she's never heard it worded that way. It's like, well, that's because you're an idiot. You don't understand how things actually work.
And yet she reports the news. She reports what's actually happening, and she is completely ignorant of the police state.
I think she's a repeater, not a reporter, as Anthony Antonello would call her.
Fair statement.
All right, so was there anything else about the Fox thing that stood out to you?
Well, it was a big deal that Bill O'Reilly was mentioning CopBlock. You know, this is an organization that only began in 2012 and now has chapters all around the country, and that it finally made it to the lips of Bill O'Reilly, the top show in cable for 14 years. I mean, I don't want to give him more praise than he deserves, but he's got some cred for having a show with that kind of audience. And now he's bringing CopBlock to the people. Whether he's saying good or bad stuff, more people are going to hear about it, and all press is good press.
Yeah, any PR is good PR. One thing that
the Facebook page, we got 11,000 likes that day.
Yeah, I mean, you say
O'Reilly has 1.3 million, and we're at 840,000 or so. So I think we're going to be crushing them soon.
Once we do, we need to send them flowers and a thank you card or something like that, and let them know that we appreciate it.
Yeah, I think thank you card and flowers for Bill O'Reilly wouldn't be a bad idea. It might get another story out of him.
Yeah, he definitely. I wouldn't say that he's great or whatever he does at what he does, but he definitely has a huge fan base, and hopefully, I don't know, in the next 3-4 weeks, at least on Facebook, we'll have more than that, because man, he's really losing his credibility. The whole network is it's sad. It's nice to see though.
Well, I don't have any allegiance to Fox News. I'm not saddened by their lack of credibility. In my mind, they never had any, and the alternative media is where it's at anyway, as more people are getting their news from the internet rather than newspapers or television. This is a positive change because people are seeking out news that they want to read about. They're not just being spoon-fed whatever the mainstream media wants to give them.
But didn't you read that alternative media is domestic terrorism?
Who says that?
Is that like freedom beef?
It was on a it was on a bulletin or something. It was on an FBI bulletin.
Oh, hey, ladies, we should let the audience know that they can Skype into the show now. CopBlockRadio is our handle, and if you...
Is that what it is?
Yeah, and if you send a friend request or a contact request to CopBlockRadio, all one word, it will be accepted, and then you can get your call on the air.
This is another perk of Derrick, that he's like all set up to do the stuff. So it's like, holy crap, we got like instant producer.
Yeah, I'll take your calls. I just don't screen them.
We have no screen calls.
Maybe we shouldn't let the audience know that. Yeah, we have some monkeys working in the back. We've got some children. They're smoking cigarettes and taking calls. So we've got it all figured out.
They retired from the sweatshops where they sewed their fingers together.
Yeah. We rent them from the sweatshop. So what else is going on in the news this week, guys? Anything in Keene, outside of Keene? Where are you broadcasting from, Scott?
I'm actually down in Pennsylvania, man. I'm way far away from everybody up in the northern neck of the woods.
You're in Shire South.
Shire South. In my mind, I am. I'm definitely in Shire South in my mind. I'm like Rose would say, I'm free in my mind.
Well, that's perfect because the Shire is not really a place, but a state of mind.
I definitely am a Shire resident.
Cool.
Maybe I got to get a new license plate. Are you guys printing those yet, or are they just, they're just out there?
Yeah, there are Shire plates.
I know. I need to get one.
Well, I don't know where you can order one. I think most people make their own. Have you ever?
You would be very understanding here.
Can you do that in PA? Will the cops pull you over for having a private license plate on the front?
The cops will pull you over for whatever they want to.
I see.
And they will also search your car because apparently now the warrant thing is out the window, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago. They no longer need a warrant. Now they can just basically do whatever they want, which they would do anyway.
All right.
I mean, Derrick's from that neck of the woods, right?
Yeah.
Philly, right? Yep.
Yeah, I live in Philly. Or I originally, I'm from Philly.
Philly, man,
yeah.
Congratulations on not being murdered, man. Philly was just, I spent some time living outside of Philly, and I know Philly, I think last year was around 300 homicides.
Well, it wasn't me.
Awesome, thank you for not being a victim of homicide.
Well,
I'm sure you were a victim of other crimes.
Yeah, I was pretty much just hiding out while I was in Philly. The story goes, I moved to Keene in 2011. I committed a victimless crime spree that folks can learn about at victimlesscrimespree.com. It's a free documentary about how I was arrested up here for trying to live free, and I went to jail for it. And anyway, after going to jail, decided I'm going to stay away from this place for a little while. And I moved to Philadelphia. Now my suspended sentence is over, and I should be a normal human with rights again. But then I found out when I moved back to Keene, nope, I still don't have rights because the Keene police say I don't have the right to carry a weapon. I could carry a gun on my hip, but if I decided to put that gun in my pocket, now that's illegal. Hey, speaking of illegal people, we've got Dio on the line. What's going on, Dio?
What's up, boys? How's it going, Derrick?
It's great.
Hey, Dio.
Is this do my ears deceive me? Is this we have Skype now?
It's true. We have Skype, and you are on the air, going over LRN.FM.
Wow, technology's cool.
Yeah, man. So what's on your mind?
Nothing. I was just calling in because they finally got the Skype back, so I just wanted to say hello and say hello to everybody, and say I missed everybody that I met at
Yeah, what's up with the sign, dude? I saw you got a new sign, you have a new and improved sign. What's going on with that and the case?
Yeah, it's been postponed. We got to go August 26th, 9 o'clock in the morning, so whatever. I don't care. They can postpone it as long as they want. I don't really care.
All right, cool. Well, I'm sure we'll hear more about that in the future because it's an interesting case. And unfortunately, we have to go to break now, so you listen to the CopBlock Radio Show on LRN.FM.
If you want to move to the free.
Yeah, I think I'm feeling back from Derrick.
Okay.
You think?
It almost sounds like.
What do you think? What do you think you're doing?
Feeding back from you.
Yeah, something sounds wrong.
And
What could it be? Let me check some of my settings.
Mark Warden is the guy for you. PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
No, my my settings are right.
Here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to
Why
the
do you
Shire
think
to
that you're
join
feeding back
people
through me?
who were
I
actually
can't hear it now. It's not all the time.
The people here.
What were you hearing?
Depends. I can hear myself like with all the treble yanked out and just heard the bass feeding back around.
That's sort of how I hear you. That's how it sounds to me.
Shire Society Declaration. And
That's
learn
kind of
reasons
weird.
why
Somebody
if
sounds
you
like
love
shit.
liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire
Well,
map at
yeah, it sounds like
shiresociety.com.
that's Eric to me, but if that's not,
The three most important
What is
things
going
you
on?
can do for LRN.FM
It's almost
are,
like the
one,
voice is
let
coming
your
over
friends
as
know you're
static.
listening to LRN.FM.
yes, exactly. That is how it sounds.
Scott, I sound fine to you, right?
Yeah, I don't know where it's coming from. It just
Both
something just doesn't sound right.
like that.
Well, do you want me to disconnect for this segment and I'll just listen in on LRN.FM and I'll see if I'm the problem?
You can get what you need at the
Nah, I wouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I would recommend. You guys can handle the next segment.
Are you tired of government?
Yeah, let me just listen to the show on LRN.FM and I'll see if it's me.
Do you have the continuous transmission and the I don't know, whatever the auto volume thing is?
Stop doing it.
Turned
off.
Incredible alternative available
Let's see.
now. Learn it. Use it.
Because you go from really hot, and then when you start talking, it crushes it down.
Really, I don't want that to happen. Okay, so
Yeah,
where's
it sounds like there's something that's turning you down.
what's that under?
in the way you prefer. You can
I'm under
Settings
options,
and capture.
capture,
Stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile
advanced
at
options,
facebook.lrn.fm or follow us
automatic
on
voice
Twitter
gain
at
control
twitter.lrn.fm.
turned off now. It
It's
was
all
on.
free, so sign up
Okay,
now
and
Facebook.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email
okay.
box. Facebook.lrn.fm
So maybe that's
follow
all
our
I
Facebook
needed.
page,
How do you
and
sound now? How do I sound now?
twitter.lrn.fm to receive
Check,
our
check,
tweets.
check. 1 2 1 2 1
I
2.
think you sound good. Yeah.
I sound good,
What it was.
but Eric still sounds crappy to me.
Yeah, it still sounds
No
like that's
offense.
No. I know that it's not Eric. I know it's not him. It's probably me. So what is that about?
To you.
Why is that? Let me check my cable. And Dio, you're still there, right? You can hear us.
Yeah, I'm here.
How did it sound on your end?
Yeah, how's it sound to you, Dio?
It sounds like they both have Scott and Eric got like static. It's like you look crystal clear there.
Okay. All right. Well, then it's me. It's me. Yeah, I'm gonna disconnect from the show and just listen for the next segment.
Watch it
All right.
for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at Victimless Crime.
Say,
Hey, Dio. It's just you and me
Hey.
now. Sorry,
Okay.
you're no longer on the show because you were connected through me.
oh, okay.
So listen in to this next segment, and then you can probably call in after this segment.
Yeah.
All right, rock on.
Okay, because I gotta do it. I gotta listen on the phone.
Oh, okay. Peace, man.
Okay.
Let's see if we can listen to this show.
Block Radio Show live on LRN.FM.
Yeah, see?
I'm your
sounds
host,
fine.
Derrick, and with me tonight I have Scott, and Derrick J has just dropped off the line just for a minute. So we got to figure out a little technical difficulties, so it's just me and Scott for now, but that's all right.
He'll get it figured out. He has way more experience with technology than I do, and definitely, if someone's going to figure out it, I'm glad it's him, because I would just, miss the rest of the show and be angry.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing that all you have to do is plug the USB cable in, and that's about all. You're good to go.
I'm good at other things. Just this whole computer thing, I'll come in, I'll sit in the studio, but whenever I can't do it, whenever I'm there, it's a totally different story.
So yeah, before the break we had Dio on Skype, and I figured that's when things are going to get salty. But I think things are going to get salty now because of the next story that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So we're going to earn our explicit rating.
We sure as fuck are.
The story out of New York, I'm sure everybody has seen it at this point because it's been everywhere. That there was a man who was strangled to death by a police officer in broad daylight over selling untaxed cigarettes. So right here is the blatant example of if you don't pay your taxes, the government will kill you, because that's exactly what happened. And heading over to my raised blood pressure website, Police One, the comment section is as
good as it
disturbing
gets.
as always. Yeah.
Oh, it just doesn't get any better than that. Now this, people have to. I want to make sure everybody understands. We did, post it earlier, but Police One actually goes out. Like, you can't just be the average Joe. You can't be a lowly peon citizen. You actually have to be a police officer. And they verify that you are, so that you can, log on and blog. So the comments are not coming from anybody but law enforcement. Am I correct?
That's what it states inside one of these comments, that the user has been verified as a Leo. So
wow,
it looks like they do verify people as being who they say they are.
Which makes it even scarier. So it's not just like the average troll who's coming on and saying things like they are a cop. They are actually a law enforcement officer.
So one of the ones here is that, first and foremost, there is nothing more important to me than officer safety.
Officer
and
safety is very important.
Bullshit.
If you're not willing to, risk it, why do you have this occupation? You have to accept the, hazards associated with your job.
And he goes on to say, I in no way sympathize with criminals. I simply look at both sides of the situation. Yeah,
but
my foot you do.
How can anybody actually say that whenever they're talking about, they're already calling the person a criminal, so they're not looking at both sides of the situation. They're looking at a person who is, they're attempting to apprehend so they can stand trial for a crime. They're innocent until proven.
There was...
Wait, no, that's not...
There was one in here that I was completely... Where the hell was it? I will have to find it. But, here it is. This guy is quoting somebody else somewhere else farther down, and it says, I know that the chokehold has been outlawed in many states. I cannot support these officers for untaxed cigarettes. This cannot be acceptable. This is where a citation would have been a factor. And then he goes on to say, your comment is stupid. How do you issue a citation when they're resisting arrest? And this is somehow okay?
It doesn't make it. I don't know how to fix it. Like you can't, like, where I work, the common saying is you can't fix stupid. They recruit stupid. So if they recruit it, do they want to fix it? Or what do they want? Are they actually getting what they want? And I feel like they are. This is what they're looking for.
Right. Disposable idiots. And even then, they're not actually disposable because you don't even get rid of them when they do something stupid.
No, they get paid vacations and then they get a promotion later on.
Right. So stupid is pretty much status quo around here. So if you do something stupid, it's like, good job. You did exactly what we hired you to do. Don't think, just, the everybody else is your enemy. So just go.
One of my favorite comments was talking about how he got exactly what he deserved, because if he would have just turned around and put his hands behind his back and not resisted, the man who was twice the size of the two men that were trying to arrest him would not have died, justice served. So there's two men, and they're up against a man that's twice the size of him. 4 hands versus 2 hands. And it's okay that this guy died. There's literally there's no sympathy.
The same commenter goes on and says, when you resist a lawful arrest, you are taking the risk that you might not survive the confrontation, especially when you weigh 350 pounds. Under the circumstances, Garner was a cardiac event waiting to happen.
Right.
This is how the cops justify killing a guy on the streets.
It was so, like, there were so many derogatory fat fuck, stupid bastard, or fat bastard, like, just so many derogatory statements about the man's physical, person. Just derogatory. I mean, I can't believe there wasn't racial comments coming out of this. I would be surprised if there were, and I guarantee that there are.
I mean, it's the stupidest thing. It's untaxed cigarettes. Who gives a fucking shit? Nobody cares.
See, apparently that's like New York really is cracking down on untaxed cigarettes, apparently, and counterfeit cigarettes. I know that there was a bust a couple months ago, or maybe a year ago now, and it was all about these counterfeit cigarettes. It's like, who gives a shit? The tobacco companies and the state.
Well,
that's the only two people who care about this.
Well, not the tobacco companies, the state of New York, because they're the ones who make all the money. The tobacco companies have already sold their tobacco, so they don't really give a crap if you have a tax stamp or not. It's the state of New York that is like 98% of the cost of the pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, I'm saying the tobacco companies are the only other people who care, because they're not. If somebody is selling the same product as you, it's just competition, especially if they're using their name and label.
Right, for counterfeit stuff, but
right.
Just selling
the
untaxed,
taxation.
who gives a shit? The state of New York does.
Right.
Man, and what's like a pack of cigarettes now in New York? Like $11.
It's got to be something like that.
At least half of that, more than half of that, is definitely taxed. Freaking ridiculous. Yeah. So this. Yeah. Fuckity fuck.
There you go.
That's all I have to say about it. All right, we have to head to break. You listen to CopBlock Radio Show on LRN.FM.
If you're looking for work, you know the math. There are many more applicants than openings, so you need to stand out, not blend into the blah, blah, blah your interviewer is hearing from your competition. Here's a tip. In your interview, you will be judged more by the questions you ask than the answers you give. Yes, do anticipate the obvious job interview questions and prepare concise, insightful, glass-half-full sounding responses. And you should interview your interviewer. Seem genuinely curious about what will help get results. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. You want to cut through.
You probably have the gain way up.
Hey kids, you both sound great. I was just listening on LRN.FM, and you both sound high quality, very good. Especially Eric sounded a tiny bit better, and I was hearing a slight echo that's probably undetectable to most who aren't paying very close attention. So it sounded like
we've been trying to narrow it down, and we think it's the gain on Scott's microphone. Like, I have the gain on mine turned all the way down, and my cheek is resting on my microphone. That's how close I am to the stupid thing.
All right, what should
well, you both sound good on LRN.FM, and I got confirmation that even though I might sound like crap to one of you, we all sounded good on LRN.
You sound fine to me.
Okay, cool.
I think you sound fine too. What should my gain and the other answers?
Your gain should be as low as it needs to be, like as low as it can be while still sounding good.
The one that looks like a heart is the one that I use.
Oh, okay, you're using a Yeti?
There are two paths to God.
Yeah, yeah, the one that's looks like a heart, this cardioid pattern. That's going to sound the best. And you want to talk into the side bit, not the top. I'm sure you knew that already.
Yeah, I pretty much talk across the front of it.
Yeah.
With my cheek resting on the side of it. It works pretty well.
I can't do that. I got in trouble.
In their car, turning on the radio.
You got your beard caught in it?
You can make that vision a reality
Yeah.
with your own.
I do that all the time. Like when I pull away, I end up yanking out like 3 hairs out of my face.
Roland was like, dude, we can hear your fucking beard rubbing on the mic. You can't do that. I'm like, well, this is how close you told me to talk.
I found out what it is, Eric. Do you want to know? So, I went into TeamSpeak 3. I right-clicked your name, Eric Freerock, and there's a option that says change volume. I clicked that, and you were up plus 20 decibels. That's why you sounded like crap to me. And I was like, why does he sound like crap? He doesn't sound like that on LRN, and it was just me. So now I'm going to check Scott, and I'm going to change his volume. He is also up 20 decibels on my end. I'm going to turn that down, and now you both sound excellent. Do I still sound good?
You can't put video on an audio tape.
Very cool.
I'm looking at your website here. There's a page where you've got audio tapes for sale for $6.25 each.
And I bought both Nazareth and REO Speedwagon on audio tape.
On audio tape, but that was back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're getting the word, if you're trying to get the word out about, what you believe is going to happen in the future, maybe you should put it on CD and at least into the 1990s as opposed to 1985.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
And welcome back to the CopBlock Radio Show, live on LRN.FM. I'm your host, Eric, and with me tonight I have Scott and Derrick J. And
Hey!
Derrick J is back after we figured out some various issues that we've all been having between each other, so I think we're good now.
Woo!
Technical issues, not like personal or nothing
Right.
Like that. We're good.
Yep. All right, so Derrick, did you have anything to weigh in on the New York case?
Well, just that watching the video was pretty disturbing, and to anyone who only heard about it, we live in the age of the internet. Do yourself a favor and go watch what happened, and so you can weigh in on it yourself, rather than rely on someone else's opinion. Decide for yourself whether or not these police officers violated natural law, not the law of man, but law of the laws we all learn in kindergarten. Keep your hands to yourself. Don't touch other people's property. And I would say that they violate it, but you decide for yourself.
Definitely.
Don't take my stuff.
All right, so do we want to talk about your issue that you're having with your right to protect yourself?
Yes, I want to talk about that. I recently applied, once I came back to Keene. I used to do open carry activism, walking around, and I always wanted to participate in like one of those litter pickups that happens sometimes in Manchester, but we didn't have anything like that in Keene. And so I did open carry activism for a while I moved to New Hampshire, and it just didn't feel like me. It wasn't like, oh, I don't need to walk around with this gun, and I don't really feel like it's an effective deterrent. In New Hampshire, everyone is already armed, so we're like, you don't need to show it off. And I wanted to get a concealed carry license, and it's a shall-issue state in New Hampshire, so I figure you fill out the form, you pay the $10, they shall issue a license. But that's not what happened. I applied, and I was denied in writing within just a couple of days by the chief of police, Ken Miola, here in Keene, New Hampshire. And the reason given, people can find the documents themselves at gofundme.com/gunrights, and you can read the denial letter. But Ken Miola, chief of police in Keene, says that I was denied because I am an assaultive or threatening person. And I contest that. I think that is an untrue statement. Verges on being an outright lie. And I am appealing this decision with the help of a wonderful attorney named Evan Knappen, who's made himself famous for defending others regarding weapons crimes or concealed carry appeals. So you should look him up. Evan Knappen is the attorney's name, and we will be taking this to court in just a month, in less than a month. No date is currently scheduled, but you can look for updates at my website, which is derrickj.me, and you can make a donation to help me cover the cost. I've already retained the attorney, so he's there. But if you think this is an important case, I think you should think it's important. If you value gun rights, if you value firearms freedoms, I am a peace activist. There's no reason why civil disobedience or openly disobeying the laws that my conscience says are wrong should exclude me from having the right to put a gun in my pocket to defend myself. So I think it's about everyone's rights. And if you want to support me, it's gofundme.com/gunrights.
So yeah, I'm looking at my pistol/revolver license, and it has Ken Miola's signature right on it. And this was issued after I had been arrested and found guilty of disobeying an officer. So
Really?
yeah.
Now,
I didn't get a letter like Derrick did, but I'm not nearly as high profile as he is.
This comes from the chief of police in New Hampshire? Like,
Yep.
Don't you guys have sheriffs?
Yeah, but they don't do this stuff.
Okay, because in Pennsylvania, it's county specific. You would apply to the sheriff of your county, and then you would go through him or her, and they would take care of it. The local police department has nothing to do with it, which, in my opinion, is actually a kind of a better system for a BS system anyway, because the sheriff is elected. So, whenever you have somebody who is appointed to a position such as the chief of police in Keene, who nobody who lives there, not everybody that lives there wants to be, their chief of police. It's a little bit more fair, I guess, to have a sheriff do it, who is actually an elected person.
Yeah, I would say that was the case if it was not a shall issue state. So since New Hampshire is a shall issue state, it's done at the town level. So you go to the police department of the town that you are domiciled. I know in Ohio they do it at the county level, but you also need to complete 12 hours of training and stuff too to qualify for a concealed carry license in Ohio. So I guess that would kind of be why the sheriff's department takes care of those, because they have to, you have to take training from a certified person who's filled out all their crap with the state, and they're recognized by the state, and they have to go through all those hoops.
There's no way anyone's going to know if you just conceal carry a small gun. I mean, short of you doing something really wrong or accidentally getting arrested, there's no chance that the cops are going to just pull you off the street and say, hey, you have a gun? I mean, unless you're walking in New York City or some other place like that. I found out that the charge in New Hampshire for concealed carrying without a license is a fine of $60. I totally should have done it. I should have just not asked permission and just done it anyway, and I would have been fine. I didn't even realize that the penalty was so small. So I think it's important just to fight it, just so that anyone else doesn't have any problems. What it comes down to is the chief of police just doesn't like me. He knows I've done activism. I'm a social gadfly in that way. So he wants to punish me.
Send him flowers and a thank you card like Bill O'Reilly's getting.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Well, maybe if this goes my way, I'll be able to thank him for the opportunity of setting precedent in New Hampshire that makes it even more of a shall issue state. What I'd like to get is for New Hampshire to finally catch up with Vermont or New Mexico. These places have constitutional carry. They have no laws about it.
Too, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's the one I'm thinking of. New Mexico might have restrictive laws. I've seen a video of cops pulling over a guy who's open carrying there. It's pretty bad. So yeah, that's my story.
When I drove through New York, I pulled over in Vermont. The second I crossed the line, pulled out my gun, loaded it, stuck it in my holster, and continued on my way. Now that I was out of the state of New York.
Yep. Yeah, it's so silly that you have to do that. But these are the rules. I'm trying to follow them.
And then at the time, the second I crossed the New Hampshire state line, I had to pop the mag out and hand it to my wife because I didn't have a concealed carry at that particular time, so I couldn't carry a loaded firearm in the car. Though once you pop the magazine, then it's not loaded anymore.
Right.
Oh, Maryland has, like it has to be in, two locked, it has to be in separate parts of the car. You can have like, the weapon unloaded up front. You have to have the magazine locked somewhere else. It's just like, what's the point? Just like you were saying.
Yeah, Ohio is if there's a magazine that has bullets that goes in a gun that's in the vehicle, it's a loaded gun. So you could have an empty gun in the trunk and the magazine for it in the glove box. It's a loaded gun.
That's crazy. That doesn't even make any sense.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's the government. Is it supposed to make sense?
Well, like a little bit. They sort of have to make some justifiable sense just to lie to everybody. Just to have some kind of convincing lie. But a loaded gun by having bullets in the car somewhere, it's unjustifiable.
Yeah, it's really stupid. Or like if you have it in strip clips for, say, like a friggin' Mosin.
What is that? Is that like what Rambo wears around his chest?
Well, I guess. Well, it was only like it's a group of 5 bullets that you can just push down into the fixed capacity of the firearm. I'll show you one sometime.
Cool.
You'll have to come over and we'll have to do some target shooting at my new house. So.
After I get my concealed carry license, you can help. GoFundMe.com/gunrights.
All right, we have to head to break. You are listening to the CopBlock Radio Show on LRN.FM. Yeah, I didn't realize that was Miola that had to sign this thing.
Yeah, he signed your denial too? You got denied?
No, I didn't get a denial.
Oh, okay. You got approved.
Yeah.
Oh, Ken Miola gave you his blessing.
Yeah, and that was a couple months after I was found guilty of disobeying an officer.
Interesting. So now now that I've fixed your problem, I've got another problem.
Uh-oh.
TeamSpeak sounds quiet to me, and I don't know why. I'm gonna try. Yeah, it just sounds quiet. I don't know if that's being lost over.
The ads are quiet comparatively to us speaking.
Yes, they are, but it's more than that. Like, my voice is significantly louder in my ears than you guys. Like, I know we're all going out at the right level on LRN, but I'm trying to tweak.
You're about equal to us now.
Yeah, I should be.
In my ears.
Yeah, I should be. I pumped up my. There was one level that I had that needed to be pumped up a little more. Now I need to figure out how to pump you guys up in my ear.
2963.
That's not it. Now I can hear myself.
Way bad.
Okay. I'm pushing buttons over here.
What does this do? What's the any key? Where's that? So I was sitting in this training today for work, and there was people. I was down in Maryland. There was people from New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Virginia. And the class was open really early. And I'm not sure how the hell it happened, but pretty much at least 50 to 75% of people in the room that I was in, there was a conversation that was started, and it kind of started talking about politics, and it started talking about the 2 planes, the plane that was lost or shot down. And the things that people were saying openly in public were awesome. I mean, people just talking about like overall distaste and distrust of authority, just the way that they felt. Like people just like showed like raw, like you don't know who was sitting in that room. Those people in that room have no idea how I feel, and they just throw that shit out there. It was awesome.
From any phone, anywhere. This number to your phone: 213-493-0309. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. On Liberty Radio Network, listen lines are locked into our screen 24 hours a day. Call 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
What do you guys want to talk about?
What about the 2 New Hampshire police officers that were terminated for brutality?
Oh, yeah, we can talk about that.
And finally, some consequences.
Right, then we can move on to the judge who got arrested for DUI.
Yeah, screw her.
Yeah, we use some salty language on this show.
Well, you can do you. I try not to curse, but I don't mind it. Let's see.
I've gotten away with that shit for 10 years now.
I'll drop it in the chat for you. Oh, you got it. All right, we're on after this liner.
PA's a shallow.
Welcome back to the CopBlock Radio Show live on LRN.FM. I am your host, Eric, and with me tonight I have Scott and Derrick J.
Yo.
All right, so we had talked about, originally when it came out, the brutality video out of Seabrook, New Hampshire, that was caught inside the jail on the security cam, but the security cam footage didn't come out until like 3 years after the incident.
Just a few bad apples. Why do you have to pick this example?
So this was back in November of 2009 when the incident occurred, and there was a young man who had been brought in for a DUI arrest, and Officer Mark Richardson and Adam Laurent were shown on video pretty much like smashing the guy into the wall, and then when he fell, they pepper sprayed him in the face.
I haven't seen this video in, I don't know, maybe a year. I haven't seen it in a long time, and I watched it today, and they just take the guy by the arm and just smash his head into the wall, and then they continue to pretty much just kick him down the hallway, and the one officer is committing this act of violence against this person, and the other 2 the entire way down the hallway are laughing and smiling. That I don't even know who's worse. Unreal.
Yeah, Officer Laurent sprays him with pepper spray when he's down on the ground, and he's smiling and laughing and giggling, and he looks straight at the security camera with a huge grin on his face like, look, this is awesome. I'm having such a good time tonight.
Do you think he's looking at his buddies? When I was in jail, there was like a command center, and no one could ever see them because they were behind this one directional glass. And there were no locks on any of the doors or no like handlebars or whatever, because the doors just open automatically because there's like this central command and they can see where everyone's walking. So when I saw this video initially and I saw that corrections officer looking up at the security cam and smiling, what I was thinking was he's looking at the person who's on patrol right now, who's watching them walk down the hallway. Someone's witnessing this crime, and he's like smiling with a knowing glance, like you're in on this too, ha ha ha.
You're gonna help us.
Yeah, you go right to second 58 of the video, and he's got a massive grin on his face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's pretty sad.
The guy who they've just arrested for driving while intoxicated. We won't even get into that, but the guy's struggling to walk, and they're just shoving him down after they smash his head against the wall.
Right, this is like the cop who is in the riot gear, who's like, you got to get moving and get up, and he pushes the guy back down. And he's like, well, I can't get up if you keep pushing me down. But so what was the outcome? Finally, 5 years later.
Are you asking me?
I'm asking
Four
you.
New Hampshire police officers have been punished over allegations of police brutality. The incident was caught on camera and then posted on YouTube earlier this year. Our Amy Sinclair has more on the punishment.
Officer Mark Richardson has been terminated. Officer Adam Laurent has been terminated.
Seabrook Town Manager Bill Manzi laid out the disciplinary actions the town has just taken following an embarrassing police brutality scandal that was caught on videotape by the police department's own video camera back in 2009. The video, posted by the victim, Mike Bergeron, who was then 19, showed him being slammed against a cinder block wall by Officer Richardson, and later, after he's hauled to his feet, getting pepper sprayed by Officer Laurent. The 20-page internal review released today found that the officer's use of force while escorting Bergeron down the hall from booking to his cell exceeded the amount of force that was needed to accomplish the task, and that Bergeron did not present an imminent use of non-deadly force to Officers Richardson, Dietenhofer, and Laurent at the time Officer Laurent sprayed Michael Bergeron.
No chief wants something like this happen on his watch. We learn a lot from this. In my 33 years on the police department, I think this is probably the most severe discipline that's ever been handed out at one time.
Along with the discipline, a mandate for the Seabrook Police Department to conduct a top-to-bottom review of all policies and procedures.
The chief will bring back recommendations for change designed to modernize police protocols with the goal of bringing best management practices for the Seabrook Police Department.
The victim, who only posted the video on YouTube this past winter, is currently jailed on an unrelated matter. But his mother, Joyce, was there personally to thank the town for their follow-through.
It's been hard. It's just been hard on everybody. You know, a long journey, and now it's over. So I'm glad. It's a relief.
Of the 4 officers whose conduct was investigated in that internal review, only one faces criminal charges. That is former Officer Richardson. He faces a simple assault charge. He was indicted by grand jury back in April. His case has not yet gone to trial. In Seabrook, New Hampshire, Amy Sinclair, and
Wow. So they were terminated, huh? That sounds like
Yeah, about 4.5 years too late.
Well, termination sounds like death, but it's much less than that. It means they were fired. It's a fancy word for being fired. Why would they use the word terminated?
It's not like they can't work somewhere else.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, and how soon is it going to be until some other police department locally hires these same individuals?
Yeah, when I saw the video of that town clerk or whoever he was reading off the names, it seemed like he tried to give a lot of force and like it was an act, you know, like he was reading this for the media, like so-and-so has been terminated. Like that's like it means anything, but it doesn't. Like you said.
No, he should be put in jail for felonious assault.
Yeah, only one of those officers was charged with the crime, and it wasn't felonious assault, it was simple assault. Now, if it had been the other way around, if that young man had thrown one of the officers' faces into the cement, do you think he would be facing a simple assault charge?
No, he'd be facing a massive felony for assault on a police officer. Because
attempted murder.
Among other
right,
things,
yeah. They probably give him attempted murder.
Yeah, they're going to hit him with at least 4 or 5 charges, minimum. And
Yeah.
all of them are going to be, with maximum sentences.
I was disappointed to hear Bergeron say that he's relieved. I mean, I can understand it in one way where he's like, this has been a nightmare. It's been going on for years. But then, don't be relieved, man. Get justice. Go sue them. Get not get even, because the cycle of violence has to end somewhere, right? But there's got to be justice somehow. I mean, I don't know what that would look like exactly, but an apology, that would be a start. If these guys would apologize, that would be nice.
Right, and the whole thing that's crazy is that the victim in this case is probably outweighed by every single one of them by at least 75 pounds. He's a skinny, small guy. Like, he was manhandled by a guy who's probably a foot taller than him and weighs 100 pounds more than him.
That's why they picked on him, right, Eric? Like, it's not, if he were a big guy, they would not have thrown him around.
Right, it's easy to get away with this. This guy's at least a foot taller than him. He probably weighs 125 pounds more than him as well.
Yeah.
There's no. He just throws them around like a rag doll.
It's
And
totally
that's
predictable.
The whole point, because he can.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're trained to think that officers and police are just going to they're going to follow the law and they're going to treat everyone equally. But the reality is they're just the bullies from your school, you know, who grew up and then couldn't find a better job than to boss everyone around with their guns. And, yeah, they pick on the weak. So that's the reason, like, when I was filming up in City Hall, Jason Repture, who's like 100 pounds heavier than I am and built with muscle, was not arrested for filming for like 5 minutes. I go out there for 6 seconds and I'm under arrest in less than 10 seconds, literally. So you know, they go after the weak because they know they can get away with it. You know, they're not afraid of a fight. It's cowardly, really.
Pretty much everything they do is cowardly.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes they do heroic things. I don't want to paint with too broad a brush. Like, you know, trying to save people. I think a lot of cops probably go into the business for the right reasons. They do want to save people. They want to be a hero. But then they end up
trying to make a difference, but at the same time, the things that they do, which make up the majority of their job.
Well, it's certainly not their job to bash people's skulls in to cement. That's not their job.
Well, it's not technically in the job description, but it seems to be their job these days. Right.
Man.
They knew they'd get away with it, but not this time, thankfully.
All right. We have to head to the news break. Stick with us. You are listening to the CopBlock Radio Show on LRN.FM.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing...
When you said news break, I was like, whoa, how is this show half over already? That was quick.
The show goes quick.
That was really quick. Hey, I'm just always on my quest for checking audio levels. How's everything sounding right now?
Good. And thanks for piping in the audio. I didn't expect it. It sounded good.
Piping in what audio?
For the video.
I didn't do that. Who did that?
I didn't do that.
What?
I thought you piped it in.
Oh my god, I totally did. I had no idea. This was I clicked on the link and it was playing in the background. Like,
yeah.
That's awesome.
So you accidentally piped it in. We all just stopped talking and listened to it.
Wow. Well, this show can happen by accident.
Whenever I said you're an idiot, did that go over the air? I'm pretty sure it did.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Alright.
So did you guys see this link? I posted it in the CopBlockRadio show notes. And it's man killed in his home during police raid over $2 of cannabis. I shouldn't laugh.
Yeah, I posted that
Terrible.
one too. I didn't see that you posted it, and I was going through. That's a good article.
Oh, insane. Yeah.
Yeah, because I commented at the very bottom, $2 fucking.
Where are you?
I'm
I'm
going
looking.
to run and grab something to drink while we're on the break.
Oh yeah, smart. I should get something too. Oh hey, while you're here, Scott, are you still there?
Yeah.
Cool. Can you hang with me? I want to do some more audio tests. I want to pump up you guys' volume.
Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM. From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News.
Check,
for
check,
Wednesday,
Scott.
July 23rd,
Yeah, it sounds. I think that your audio
Silver
sounds good
trading
there.
at $21 per ounce.
Well, I'm just okay. That's good, but I'm
You're more trained that gear than I am.
yeah, and it's wonky. That's why I'm trying to get it perfect.
I don't even know what that means.
Wonky, just sort of like it's off. It's not sounding exactly right.
For a ban on Al Jazeera, the Qatari TV channel has been forced to evacuate its offices in Gaza after Israeli troops fired at them, shooting through the windows of their 11th-story office as they were trying to do reporting from the balcony. Israel has a long history of trying to ban Al Jazeera and has tried to ban it during several of its recent wars, though such bans rarely
I think it's one of my cables.
when pressed in
Just
court.
loose or something, or
Israel's
what?
military
No, it's
guide
just
launches
low
major
quality.
direct
Like I'm
attacks
going
on Al
from
Jazeera's offices.
I'm going from a red and white cable into an a quarter inch, and I think some quality is being lost somehow. It's just not, something's not right. I'm gonna have to maybe replace the cable and see if that makes a difference. I know it sounds good enough. It's like 90% there, but I'm trying to get the full 100% quality.
For over 35 years, Roberts & Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They now take Bitcoin for purchasing precious metals so you can turn your profits into a long-term investment. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing. 800-874-9760. Reuters reports U.S. judges have their work cut out for them untangling a legal knot created on Tuesday when two federal appeals courts released conflicting rulings hours apart, going to the heart of the role of the federal government in regards to the Patient Protection Affordable Care Act. The latest conservative challenge to President Obama's healthcare overhaul will not necessarily land in the U.S. Supreme Court, although it could end up there as soon as this year if the two lower courts continue to disagree. At stake is how millions of Americans pay for private health insurance, or if they can afford it at all. The 2010 Affordable Care Act authorized tax credits to subsidize private health insurance. Seeking to upend the law as it was going into effect, businesses and individuals filed lawsuits asking that the subsidies be declared unlawful, except in states that established their own online insurance marketplaces. Analysts estimate that as many as 5 million people could be affected if subsidies disappear from the federally created marketplaces. The federal government set up insurance marketplaces in 36 states that did not themselves establish exchanges. Tuesday's conflicting rulings created what lawyers call a circuit split. A 3-judge panel in Washington, D.C. voted 2-1 to invalidate subsidies.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, you're an idiot. Did go out over the air.
Unanimously ruled the opposite, upholding the subsidies nationwide. Both cases.
Did you hear that? I've gotten an hour of public access TV every Wednesday night.
What's your?
It's going to be Porkfest videos.
That is awesome. Well done, Eric.
That's so funny.
So 6 o'clock every Wednesday. That's probably like the best.
That's like prime time.
I know, that's like the best. Yeah, because it's after national news. It's like perfect like channel surfing time.
And put his plan and
I want to mute the LRN commercials.
How do you do that?
I wish you could.
I just did on my end.
Oh.
I right-click.
Oh yeah, you can mute client.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
Is it muted for you guys when I do that?
No, I just muted it for me though.
I just muted it for me too. Yeah. Finally, it's not my ears. Do you use a board, Eric?
I don't.
Okay.
That's why I came over to your house to see if I could figure out what I need to get.
Right. Well, I'm still figuring out how to try and use my equipment. I don't know how to use it. Obviously, I'm screwing up with TeamSpeak over here. I'll get it working for next episode.
It's all good.
Oh man, ALP show is gone. ALPshow.com is gone.
Did they accidentally forget to renew it?
I guess so. Their domain has lapsed. I mean, isn't that where they put new episodes? I thought that show still goes on. I've heard it.
Yeah, they're still doing it.
Well, what is with their website being down?
That's weird.
Yeah. How bad is my AC in the background?
If I listen real close, I wouldn't know what it was, but now that you told me, now I know what it is, but I could barely hear it.
That's good to know. Okay, I'll go turn it off.
All right, we got 5 seconds. And welcome back to the CopBlock Radio Show live on LRN.FM. I am your host, Eric, and with me tonight I have Scott and Derrick J.
Holla.
Do you just come up with, do you have like a laundry list of things that you say after getting introduced?
No, I just always like to make some sort of noise after someone says my name so that people know what voice to associate with Derrick J.
Yeah, apparently there's a guy who
exactly
does.
the same.
Yeah.
What? There's some other
Is there an
guy?
echo in here?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know. We some guy in the chat room says that me and Scott sound exactly the same.
Oh, really? No, I can tell your guys' voice very well. You're totally different. Scott is clearly, you've been from Pennsylvania for a while, right?
At least a week or two.
A week? Okay, so where are you really from?
Nah, I've been here.
Yeah.
I am from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you sound like you're from Pennsylvania.
I don't understand how anybody could confuse Eric for myself.
Yeah, you guys are different.
I don't know either.
It doesn't. Whatever.
Bunch of white guys.
Yeah, we're so typically white. I'm sorry that I was born this way. I apologize.
That is the demographic with no card to play in the game of police statism. You don't get to fall on any sort of I don't know, whatever social.
At least not in this
card.
country.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's true. It's perspective. Chin up, Eric.
We could go to the Congo, and then we'd be totally screwed.
Right.
Or where was it at that they just was it Congo? I thought it was like Zimbabwe or something where they said that white people were not allowed to own land.
One of those
It
countries.
was Congo. It was one of those countries that there's
White people shouldn't be allowed to own land anywhere.
No one should.
So, how about this guy who was killed in his home over some marijuana? It was a huge amount of marijuana, though. It's $2 worth.
I've lost more of that than that in my couch.
Yeah,
I've had find $2 worth right now.
I've had $2 of marijuana blow away like out the window of my car. I've been sad about it for like a second, but then you're like, all right, I'm over it. Or you have that amount in like a roach that you might throw away.
So ironically enough, today I got a picture. I mean, I don't know if it would be $2 worth, but one of my friends works at a coffee shop, and there was someone that was complaining about the price change from a medium to a large cup of tea, and it was like 25 cents. And the person was just complaining about this, and they handed them $2, and wrapped up inside the $2, unbeknownst to the patron, was approximately $2 more worth of weed.
Oh,
the picture.
whoops.
I mean, perfect. Of all days, today was the day the picture came through. It was.
Wow.
I just started laughing.
Was it in a baggie, or was it just straight up cannabis on the paper bill?
Straight up cannabis on the bill.
Oh God, that's horrible.
FRN. Yeah, I don't.
Wow.
I would consider it somewhat suspect at this point, though.
Was it broken up? Like, was someone right about to roll it into something and then
Oh no, it
forgot
wasn't
about
broken.
it?
No, it wasn't broken up at all.
Oh, okay. Have you ever done that? I've done that at a cashier's where, like, you reach into your pocket and you grab a 20 or whatever you're using to pay with, and, like, boom, right on the table goes a gram of weed. And it's like, oh, no. I've done it before, and I've just grabbed it quickly enough where, like, they see it. They know what it is. I know what it is. I'm just like, this didn't happen. I use a Jedi mind trick and just say, this isn't the cannabis you're looking for. Yeah. Yeah, this
I'm
this
cool
is
with
totally
this if
fine.
you are.
Right. I just slip it right back into my pocket and like finish the transaction like nothing ever happened. So, but this guy wasn't so lucky. In Tampa, Florida, he was shot to death in his bedroom. So he might have even been I don't know. Who knows if he was even enjoying a toke during his last few minutes. But
It sounds like he was sleeping.
yeah, the raid occurred May 27th, 2014, in the Tampa neighborhood of Seminole Heights. Jason Westcott, age 29, and his housemate were asleep in separate rooms when the Tampa SWAT team arrived to search the premises. The police claimed they knocked and then received no answer and then barged in as they discovered the door was unlocked. The individual sleeping on the couch was quickly detained, and the intruders made their way to Mr. Westcott's bedroom. In the split-second confusion of being jarred awake by strange noises, Westcott picked up his pistol in a futile effort to defend himself. It would be the last decision he ever made. police skillfully entered his sleeping quarters and opened fire on the man that supposedly, quote, threatened the officers. Yeah, from his bedroom, after how many, they didn't even name how many intruders come into this guy's home, armed, wearing black, wearing police military riot gear. Yeah, he's the one who threatened them. I mean, what kind of backwards world is this? Like,
right, we've talked about this in the past, especially when the guy out in New Mexico, the homeless guy, was shot, and they're claiming, you know, well, he was a threat. It's like, well, you put yourself within the range of the threat, so how can you call it a threat? You know, you put yourself in the position on purpose, so you cannot claim self-defense if you were the aggressor to begin with.
Absolutely. Now, I couldn't see in this article. It says that they were. Sorry. It says they were. You know, they were. It was during a raid. I didn't see anywhere that said it was there was a warrant that was present. Did you guys? Did I miss that, or was it a warrant or a warrantless search?
The pretext of the search warrants were questionable. Initially, the department claimed their actions were based on neighborhood complaints, but their story changed when the Tampa Bay Times pressed for records to back up the assertions. Apparently, they didn't exist. The second version of the events stated that Mr. Westcott had sold marijuana to an undercover police officer, but that story, too, was retracted. The department's third revised story alleged that a confidential informant, not a complaining neighbor or an undercover cop, had told the police that Mr. Westcott was a drug dealer who had sold weed at the house in the past. Does it sound like a drug dealer to you to have $2 worth of weed on him?
Worst drug dealer ever.
Not one I would go to. Mr. Westcott did not fire a shot, PoliceStateUSA.com reports. He was mortally wounded when struck with multiple shotgun slugs and pistol rounds. He had been targeted because the government suspected him of partaking in smoking and selling marijuana. They didn't produce any cache of drugs, however. The search of the tiny 600-square-foot house netted a total of 0.2 grams of marijuana, valued at $2. Police committed a violent home invasion, took a life, and ruined many others to rid the streets of roughly one marijuana cigarette. Unbelievable.
And this thing took place at 7:30 in the evening. It wasn't even like a early morning raid. This one was like way out in the open.
Shocking. It was a motorcycle.
And then the confidential informant thing, it's like, so somebody made it up. Good job.
So somebody was trying to cover their own butt.
Well,
that's what confidential informants are. They're, we got this guy who said some stuff, and we're going to use that because we know he's not reliable, but he said what we wanted him to say, so we're going to go ahead and do what we planned on doing. So here we go.
We trust this guy to tell another guy who's doing the exact same thing because we want somebody to arrest.
Well, no, guys, that was the second version of the story. There were 3 versions of the story, and the final one was that it wasn't a confidential informant or an undercover police officer, but it was that, no, I'm sorry. I'm totally wrong. It wasn't a complaining neighbor and it wasn't an undercover cop. They are saying it was a confidential informer. I was totally confused. Sorry.
Which means we can make shit up, attribute it to the confidential informant, and then we're good to go. Because, confidential informants, they're reliable.
Yeah.
They don't plant drugs at places that we're going in to bust. They don't leave crack on the counter.
And they're good people, too.
Right. Oh, it's infuriating that this continues to go on. And why don't they do some police work? Shouldn't they know ahead of time what the actual status of it is? Should they have, observed this guy? And why did they have to raid the place? All they have to do is take him down when he walks outside of his house. Not a big deal. All right, we're heading to the break. You listen to the CopBlock Radio Show.
Ross Ulbricht was arrested by the FBI in
So apparently
2015
it was
and
really
charged
good
with
weed that
victimless
was in the
crimes
money
in relation
today.
to allegedly operating the Bitcoin-based Silk Road
I said, I
black market.
texted her. I said,
He's been in a
I said,
prison
thanks
cell
for the
awaiting
picture.
trial ever
And she said
since.
the force
He
was
did
on
it.
her
He's a
side.
hero
And
for
I said,
making
was
the
it
black
good? She
market
goes,
a
yeah,
safer
actually it was
place.
really
If
good.
you did not, he's made the wrong
That's great.
Fucking burn.
If you love
Karma,
freedom
man,
and
karma.
on drugs,
That's a
Ross
good
and his
story.
family need
Like, why
your
would you
support.
complain about a
You can
25
learn more
cent
and help fund his defense
difference
at
between two sizes
That's
of tea?
freeross.org.
It's a little bit more of water.
Excuse
Like, and
to
you're
come
complaining
check out
about
New
this?
Hampshire this fall. You're invited to Keenvention.
Ridiculous.
It's your chance to meet
I'm
dozens
going
of
to turn these
players
ads off again. These are horrible.
You can explore the beautiful
How do you
little
do
city
that?
of Keene,
You go
discuss various
to
forms of
TeamSpeak.
Right click on LRN and then go down to mute client.
Boom. And then your ears can rest easy.
Yeah, if you're in TeamSpeak,
Oh.
right click, yep, and go down to mute. And, oh, it's so nice.
Yeah, we should play songs or something, or play music during the breaks. Some some Rebel Inc. or something.
band.
Yeah, or start a band. We could do some acapella. I'll start us off. Ooh.
The delay doesn't work very well though.
Oh right, we would have to do like we'd have to get ready for the delay, like.
We'd have to start with it would just have to be around, like
Boom,
row,
boom,
row,
boom.
row your
Boom,
boat.
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
Boom,
because
boom, boom.
even if we're singing at the same time, it's still gonna sound like a round.
Yeah, you're right. Oh man.
Man, that is mute client. Awesome. This is how technologically unsavvy I am, Derek.
Well, I'm always learning new things about the broadcasts every day. There's like, oh, there's a button for that, or like, oh, my audio was just a bit off, and now I can plug it into this wire, and now it'll work better.
Oh, look at this little jiggly thing here. Okay.
Yeah,
now-
exactly. We're
Let me
about
bring up
to...
my clock to make sure we don't miss the start of the show.
Oh, we won't miss it. Whereabouts are you
Do you
at
have
in
a clock that you use?
Yeah, I have a clock. We're not going to miss it.
No, no. Like, do you have a little app that syncs up to the atomic clock or something?
Yeah. I have two of them.
Okay, what do you use?
I have one on my Mac and one on my Linux, and I just use a little widget, and it's on the desktop.
Oh, okay. I haven't downloaded one. I just go to the time.gov website.
That's a good way to do it, too.
Works out. Sorry, go ahead.
She just texted me, son of a bitch. Now she texted me a picture of I bought a case of Lagunitas, a little something something. She's drinking my fucking beer.
Uh-oh.
She's smoking weed and drinking my beer, and I'm sitting here doing this.
Do you ever smoke cannabis on air?
Me, no. I actually probably only smoked like 3 times in the past 8 years.
It's hard for me. I would like to, but it's hard for me to do to smoke cannabis on air and then talk.
Get distracted or?
Not distracted. I just get really slow at talking. Like I'll slow way down. I might be thinking just as fast, and I've got lots of stuff to say, but it just doesn't come out that quickly.
Yeah, Derek was pretty stoned on Saturday.
What was going on Saturday?
When we went out to Local Burger, you were
Like, whoa. Well, whatever. You know, it was Saturday night. I'm allowed to have a burger and enjoy it extra special. I had the drunken burger too. And it was better to be high than drunk. All right, we better come back. Unmute.
Sidewalk. Oh, you might get hit by calls.
Not good.
This is the Onion News Network. What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
And welcome back to the CopBlock Radio Show live on LRN.FM. I am your host, Eric, and with me tonight I have Scott and Derrick J. How's it going, guys?
Awesome.
It's amazing.
Right, this is going very good. Very good.
Yes, I can't believe we're already in like the 6th segment of the show. It's just like flying by.
Boom.
All right, so did you guys see the story about the judge who is a hypocritical bitch?
Oh, I love this one. Please tell us.
Please.
All right, so this is out of Texas where an appeals court judge named Nora Longoria was caught going over the speed limit while traveling drunk in her Lexus. When she was pulled over, of course, she immediately flashed her badge and told the guy that she was a judge, as if that was going to carry weight, because probably she's done this a few times. And then she had plainly admitted that she had at least 5 beers before getting behind the wheel, expecting that her badge would grant her extra rights, of course, and that she had the right to to drive drunk, because that's how it tends to work with her, I guess. She'd probably done it before. Of course, sorry, I'm adding commentary, and this article actually adds commentary as well.
I didn't even know judges had badges.
Yeah, apparently they do.
Like she immediately flashed her badge, her judge badge. I gotta ask Judge Burke if he's got some kind of judge badge.
Or some special identification, probably.
Oh, that's probably it. Yeah.
The old gray-haired guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Judge Burke is famous here in Keene, New Hampshire, because a lot of liberty activists have to confront him in court.
Yes, he was the guy who sentenced me.
Yeah.
I don't like that guy.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that guy.
I can't believe you don't call him by his first name.
Who?
I don't even know his first name.
Well, you should find it out.
Ed.
Edward. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Buy him flowers and send him a thank you.
Well, so this one gives me trouble. This story did give me trouble this week, because I was thinking, it's so easy to be like, oh, hey, this judge, yeah, it doesn't look so great when the shoe's on the other foot, does it? I like bad things happening to you, and I get some sort of gratification from that. But then I'm like, that's kind of sick. The cycle of violence has to end somewhere, and it should be with the people who can do the most about it, right? And this woman, she can see that this is going to ruin her life. And she has now been put in the position where this is going to happen to her. She's just like every other person that she's convicted, and now she's screwed. So she can see it from the other side. Like, I'm not just the thug sentencing other people, now I am the victim. And so maybe this is an opportunity for her to find common ground with CopBlock activists and people who want police accountability and people who think that the war on drugs needs to end and prohibition needs to end, the restrictions on driving. Maybe she is someone who can be an asset to the peaceful evolution.
Yeah, this is one of those things.
And it's going to have to be outside of the system, because I don't think she'll have her job very long.
Yeah, probably. This is one of those things where, how serious do you take no victim, no crime? Because it's really, just like Derrick was saying, it's really easy to want to see someone who has put so many, people behind bars for victimless crimes. Here's a chance for those people to you feel like you're getting even, but how do you feel about no victim, no crime?
Yeah, I mean, if it's wrong,
right? And she goes ahead and says, "Please let me go home. I live a couple miles away. You are going to ruin my life. I've worked hard for 25 years to get where I am today." She blatantly admits that the justice system is about to fuck her.
Yep, she knows it. So,
and it's like, what? You haven't had any qualms about what you've been doing for the past 25 years? You know well that it ruins people's lives, because you're right here admitting that that's the case. So have you been spending the past 25 years ruining people's lives on purpose? That's a very evil thing to do.
Yeah, but she shouldn't be punished for the slightly intoxicated driving. She should be punished for putting innumerable peaceful people behind bars. I mean, she should be charged with the crime of caging peaceful people, not driving with after having a few beers. I mean, that's weak. That's not the kind of justice I want to see for a judge who's done real crimes.
Right.
Charging her with something like that. I mean, if it's going to be wrong to charge other people with that crime, then we should hold the same standard for her.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't, even though you don't want to see somebody go to prison for, you know, a victimless crime like this, but here the cop was like, you know what, I know we're on the same team and we both get funded through the same stolen money, but I'm going to hold you accountable the same way I would hold some other peon for a victimless crime.
Wouldn't it be cool to reach out to this judge and tell her like about jury nullification and like pretend that she just has never heard about any of this stuff? Like, oh hey, you've been charged with the victimless crime. Like, let us help you. You know, there are tons of people who get charged with victimless crimes all the time. You should plead not guilty, and then you'll get a jury trial.
Send her a don't take a plea pamphlet and jury nullification pamphlet.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Like the judge who gets pulled over for a DWI tries jury nullification out like at the behest of cop blockers. Like that would be just such a twisted story. And we could actually find common ground with these thugs. You know, these people who have been hurting others for so long, hurting our friends and family. Maybe now they will finally come around, now that the police state has finally come to them.
Didn't the state in the Supreme Court arguments for Rich Paul say that jury nullification was illegal yet tolerated?
Yes. That was insane. I mean, I recorded the Supreme Court of New Hampshire saying that, and that's exactly right. You are not mischaracterizing that statement in any way, Eric. They said that the jury nullification has always been illegal, but tolerated by the government.
And how would they classify that as illegal? What could they legally do to people who nullify a case?
Well, they can't punish a jury for their decision. You know, when a jury makes a decision, either guilty or not guilty, they suffer no consequences for that decision. So there is no enforceable action that the government can take for people enacting jury nullification.
Right, but if they threaten it, then everybody's like, well, they got to have something they can charge us with, and we better go along with what they say because they just threatened us and saying that it was illegal, and we'd be breaking the law if we did it.
Yeah, that's really weird. It happens a lot, too. I was at a case in Wisconsin where Vernon Hirschberger, a raw milk dairy farmer, was charged with 4 victimless crimes related to selling raw milk. The jury figured out what was going on behind the scenes, and they didn't convict him. They said, we are not going to send this guy to jail, except for one crime, a violation of probation. Often juries who want to refuse conviction feel like they have to convict somebody for something, otherwise he wouldn't be in the courtroom anyway, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the go along to get along mentality sometimes. All right, we have to head to break. You're listening to the CopBlock Radio Show on LRN.FM.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you?
As long as I have 5 seconds, I can get out.
Free State Project, which is over 70% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. Awesome. And they're already making the move.
It is.
We're usually like just awkwardly talking back and forth trying to talk about
things. The Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just...
And now you can have peace and quiet.
Peaceful. I know. Like I feel like we should all just sit here quietly for the next 1 minute and 37 seconds.
Do you each have headphones on?
Yeah.
I have on earbuds, and I think that it's feeding back whenever Eric and I were talking back and forth. I need to get different ones because I just use earbuds normally.
Because I hear me coming back a little bit, and I'm wondering if that's my, if that's the program or if that's through.
Can you hear yourself now?
Check, check, 1, 2, check, check. I am listening to hear if I
like
hear
I can see that you're talking, but
no,
I don't hear you. So if you can't hear yourself right now,
no, I couldn't hear myself just then. It was a barely detectable echo anyway. I'm gonna keep talking to see if I hear anything, and I'm not. Oh wait, yep, it is back. So
yep, that's what it is.
So it's just earbuds.
Yep.
Okay, not a big deal. That is like such Amazon a low. It's Prime. Like 1 decibel. It's like nothing, but I can still hear it. So I'm trying to pay attention to the audio. Get us the best sound we possibly can. Yeah, if you've got like closed-ear headphones, that would probably be the best. You can pick up a pair pretty cheap, probably less than $20.
Yeah. I mean, freaking Amazon. I got an Amazon Prime membership. Man, it's kicking my ass.
Why is it kicking your ass? What do you mean?
Because it's just so easy
to just buy stuff.
Oh, 1 click. Oh, you'll have it here in 2 days. Perfect.
Oh, I know. I love it. I bought stuff on Amazon today, and it was like, oh, you're $9 away from free shipping. And I was like, oh, okay, what do I need? Well, I buy some cables or something, you know? Like, Amazon really gets you.
Yeah.
I get
one
luck.
thing. Do you use Overstock at all?
Yeah, they take Bitcoin.
Fuck yes, I know. I bought half the stuff that's in my bedroom. I bought off of Overstock with Bitcoin.
Rock on, man.
It was given for free. Thank you.
That is so cool.
Overstock. Yeah.
Way to go, Overstock. Yeah, their CEO is awesome. What's his name? Patrick Byrne. I
can't remember.
He's from Colorado. He's basically an anarchist. He enjoys cannabis, and he takes Bitcoin for his major company. And he's talking about.
He's from New Hampshire.
Oh well, yeah, but he lives in Colorado. He lives around a bunch of weed hippies, and then he wants to source his Overstock.com merchandise with Bitcoin. So he wants to like pay his merchants in Bitcoin. How cool is that? He wants to like close the loop. No more dollars.
Hey, payday. Sweet.
Would be awesome.
It is payday. I went on Amazon. I was like, I better check my bank account first.
What do you guys want to talk about when we come back?
Let's see here. We talked about the $2.
Oh, how about this is a quick story. Cop steals golden crucifix and $3,000 cash from a dying motorist.
Okay, yeah. We'll talk about that one.
Do you want to introduce
That's
it?
on the top, I think.
You can go with it if you want.
Okay. I think it's fun.
Stole Crucifix. How Christian of him.
It's just as Christ intended.
That's like in there's some like children's home. Oh, how much time do we have?
LRN.FM. Please
we got
your
less than
10
5 seconds. Yeah,
Become an
5
amplifier
seconds.
at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
And welcome back to the CopBlock Radio Show live on LRN.FM. I am your host, Eric, and with me tonight I have Scott and Derrick J. And Derrick J is going to tell us about a new low that kind of runs along the stealing candy from a baby, but this is even worse.
Oh, a new low? What are you talking about? Give this guy a trophy. A Connecticut state trooper is due in court this fall for sentencing after he was found guilty of stealing from a motorist who was dying on the side of the road. Dashcam footage from the officer's patrol car show him stealing cash from the dying man, as well as a golden crucifix. On Wednesday afternoon, Aaron A.J. Huntsman, a 19-year-old veteran of the state police, pleaded guilty to 2 felony charges of third-degree larceny and tampering with evidence. Although your average person would face up to 10 years under these same charges, Officer Huntsman is looking at a maximum of 1.5 years, plus 5 years probation. He has the ability to plead for a lesser sentence, just because he is a cop. The victim of the theft was 49-year-old John Scalise, a former executive of a company called Jace Masonry. Scalise was killed on September 22, 2012, after his motorcycle crashed into a construction company truck on the highway. In his dying moments, Scalise was approached by Officer Huntsman, who was the first cop to arrive on the scene. Huntsman walked over to where Scalise was laying, bent down, and picked up Scalise's gold chain and a roll of bills containing $3,700. When asked about the money by Scalise's grieving father, Huntsman said that he hadn't seen any money at the scene. The lie ultimately became exposed when the cash was found under the front seat of Huntsman's patrol car. According to the state police, Huntsman continued to claim that he was innocent, even after he was shown a video of him taking the money.
Isn't that crazy? Like, they still deny it even after it's right there on video.
It's 1984
cookies.
Yeah, it's 1984 taken to the extreme, right? This is the Ministry of Truth at work, where if you just repeat a lie enough times, it becomes true. I don't know about that money. I have no idea how that money got under my seat. I have no idea how I ended up on that video taking this man's money. It's unbelievable. The fact that a court would even take this man seriously and give him a trial after seeing something like that as evidence. I mean, how much time should he get? What should be a penalty for a man who steals from a dying motorcyclist on the side of the road when it's actually his job to save that man? Like, how criminal can one man be in, like, one action? This is a new low.
If he wasn't a cop, how long would he have gotten?
That's a good question, too. It's unclear.
How many times has he gotten away with it previously? You know, this isn't the first. Like, no one ever gets caught on the first time they do something.
No. He's a 19-year veteran of the force. You telling me this is the first time this ever happened? Get
in 19
real.
years, he's making pretty decent money. Well, if there's that guy over there dying, I'm going to go over for the first time in 19 years. I'm going to take that guy's money and his gold item.
No, I mean, I think it's pretty common knowledge that cops in most jurisdictions are paid off by local crime syndicates, and so cops are making even more than it looks like they're making on paper. The fact that he felt like he could get away with just a little extra money here, a little extra money there, indicates that he has not only done this before, but it is common for him to do. The fact that he lied about it so blatantly also indicates that he felt like he could get away with it because the other cops who were investigating him know how common this is.
Right, it's insane. Like, no, that's not me on the video. No, yeah, I didn't do that. And it's right in front of you. It's freaking ridiculous.
Well, only a person who knows that he's being investigated by his friends and coworkers could lie with that sort of bravery. You know, to just outright, that's not me on the video of my patrol car and my dash cam taking the money that you found under my seat. That's not me. I mean,
blatant disregard of facts.
Like, wow, dude. And how long have you been apart from society? Like, what was your journey like leaving the rest of society? Like, what planet do you live on?
But it's been like the Supreme Court, or at least an appeals court, said that cops are more reliable than video.
Oh, yeah. More
How
reliable
does that
than
work?
video. Well,
Right.
because they're super honest. They know more
Because
truth than the truth.
You can Photoshop it. That's why, because cop blockers Photoshop videos.
You know what it really is the police need to hide from accountability now that cameras have been invented which present an objective view of what happened at an incident. Now the police need some way to supersede that, so their word is somehow magically higher, of a better authority than even video. That's what it is. It's about using the magic wands of government to just shield reality. We'll paint our own reality. The one where the government's always right.
2 + 2 = 5.
That's right. Well, that's all I got on the dying motorist. I feel bad. I feel bad for his family. I feel bad for his dad, who survived him. It's just a tragedy all over. And then to add insult to injury, the police officers that this guy paid for. You know, if it happened in his own local town, then the cop who stole from him was also funded by him. So it's like an extra insult to the injury.
I was thinking about, talking about feeling bad about all the people that never were made whole because of the things that he's done previously, like all the times he's done this previously. And there's, oh no, we didn't find that at the scene, or this wasn't found. What about all those people? Like, they have no opportunity to be made whole. They just, have to deal with the fact that these items were stolen and pawned or sold or whatever it was that he did with them.
On the topic of accountability, someone from the chat room brings up a good point, saying, how about the FBI? They intentionally do not record video or audio. They only take notes, because notes can be fixed. So they can claim whatever they want.
Well, I mean,
right. That's kind of that's something that happened to Rich Paul. Is that they said that there was no video. It's like, you serious? There's no video?
Hey, speaking of Rich Paul, he's got a trial happening tomorrow. He's got a violation of probation hearing. It's happening
What's
tomorrow.
the violation? I missed it. What did they say that he did now that was bull?
It is alleged that Rich Paul used a monopod as a defensive weapon, a camera monopod. He was holding it in his hand, which for any other human would be perfectly acceptable and permissible in the government's view. But Rich Paul, you see, he has certain conditions over his behavior, and one of them is that he's not allowed to hold certain objects, like a camera monopod, for example. That's what the government's alleging. They also allege that his urine contains marijuana, and so he needs to be punished with a rape room, and that's what they're seeking to do. Tomorrow he'll have a hearing in Keene Superior Court, I believe, or District Court, because it's just a violation of probation. And I wish him the best. I'm going to be there filming. People can catch the video at freekeene.com.
On this show, we call it state rape.
Yeah, that's right, state rape. And it's
State rape's the worst. That's the worst kind.
It's a very real thing. It's so real. It's common knowledge. It's commonly known and said by police officers. Oh, you're gonna have a good time in jail. They treat boys like you pretty well in jail. You know, they insinuate that you're gonna be raped. It's an extra punishment from the state.
Insane. All right, we have to head to break. You are listening to the CopBlock Radio Show on LRN.FM.
When I found the Free State Project,
I like your bumper music.
Key to achieving liberty in my lifetime.
Thanks. I think we have System of a Down, Rage Against the Machine, All That Remains, and Rebel Inc.
Who was that? All That Remains just then?
Yes, that was All That Remains.
I feel like in the last segment I talked too much. I'm just going to sit back and let you guys finish the show.
It's all good.
I was like, blah, 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 blah.
If you're talking, that means I don't have to.
Fair. So what's our final...
socialists.
What's our final segment going to be?
I don't know.
What about the man who was charged with shooting cops and got exonerated? That's a big story.
Is there another one?
I think we talked about that last week. Unless there was just another one.
You could have talked about it next week. I think it happened on. I saw it on a Wednesday, so maybe you guys talked about it that day, like when it came out. But
I had seen one, but it was just a repost of an old event.
AR-15. Purchase
Yeah.
control agent pointing the guns at this Boy Scout.
Yeah, that one was nuts. Got to talk about that story. If you haven't done that one, do that one. Except the free
Cop to ironically fight for his right to go oink.
No, this story says it's July 17th. A man in Virginia that was charged with firing a gun at police who were attempting to enter his house in the middle of the night unannounced has been exonerated by a jury trial.
Oh, that's a different one.
New one.
Yep. Brandon.
The other one was out of Texas.
Brandon Watson. Yeah, this is a new
Where's
one.
that at? Did you post that up anywhere?
Yeah, it's at the bottom. It's at the bottom of the first page in the.
I'll highlight it.
First page.
I gotta turn my AC on. Be right back.
I'll just drop it in the chat for you.
Good work. Okay, click. I can't make a good shot.
Who's clicking? Can I hear? Eric, I can hear your clicking. What mic? Yeah, I can. What microphone do you use?
The Yeti.
You use a Yeti too.
Yeah.
Does it have a windscreen on it?
No.
You are way higher tech than we are, Derrick.
I like audio equipment. I like to know what people are using. I want to know, like, I want to know what your setup is.
A
setup is I used to be in a
Yeti
basement.
plugged into a computer.
Yeah, I used to be in a basement in a studio, and now I'm in a living room on a plastic table with earbuds on.
All right, we got like 15 seconds.
Worms.
Crimespree.com.
Victimless crime spree.
You can watch the LRN studio cam and chat with other listeners anytime at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
Welcome back to the CopBlock Radio Show live on LRN.fm. I am your host, Eric, and with me tonight I have Scott and Derrick J.
La, la, la.
I see this is going to be an interesting partnership.
I just have to make a noise when you introduce me, so I want to sing. It's such a happy day.
You were trying to get into that a cappella during the break, but it wasn't happening.
Yeah, one day we'll all sing together in perfect harmony.
I'm telling you, it's got to be around. It has to be around.
I'm ready when you are.
I already started with row, row, row your boat.
Row your boat.
All right. All right, let's go on to, there was another trial that exonerated a man who fired at the cops.
Do you want me to tell this story?
Yeah, go for it, because this thing's crazy.
A man in Virginia that was charged for firing a gun at police who were attempting to enter his house in the middle of the night, unannounced, has finally been exonerated in a jury trial. Not only did police not announce themselves, but they were also at the wrong address. Last January, Brandon Watson of Portsmouth, Virginia, heard his back door rattling and saw shadowy figures dressed in black in his backyard. He grabbed his legally owned firearm and went to see what was going on. When Watson approached his back door, he announced himself and yelled that he was armed. Just then, 2 laser beams drifted across the room and stopped on his chest, at which point he fired a warning shot in response. Brandon explained to the local paper, quote, "We ran upstairs very quickly. She saw guys in all black from right there, looking down. I announced myself, 'Who's that? Who is that? I have a gun.' And as soon as I said that, 2 red laser beams were on my chest. So I looked at the red laser beams on my chest, and I fired a warning shot. After firing a single shot through the window, Watson ran across the street to get help from a neighbor. When he returned to his house, he was surrounded by police, and they ordered him to drop his weapon, which he did immediately. They said, 'We just got news you shot at an officer.' I said, 'An officer? Nobody came to my door. What do you mean, an officer? I didn't know there were any officers in my backyard.' Following the intrusion, Watson was arrested and charged with reckless use of a firearm.
That's it? I'm surprised that's it. I figured they would have arrested him for attempted murder on a police officer.
Well, they couldn't charge him with too much because who's really been reckless with the firearm? It's the police officers who trained their weapons on his chest. They were at the wrong house. What's not reckless about that? In the year and a half since the incident, there have been a number of court cases, the first of which Wilson was found guilty by a judge. But after...
How?
He was found guilty of because it just went before a judge. Like, the first time you're charged with a crime and it's not a real, like, there's no,
It's bull crap.
yeah, it's a bunch of crap. The judge can just say, like, oh yeah, the officers are right. And they know that, like, well, it's not so bad that I ruled in the wrong way, because he can just always appeal it to a higher judge, and then they'll have to say the right ruling, you know? So, like, cops and judges, they just, like, they let each other get away with stuff like this, and then they just assume that someone else up the line is going to correct the mistake. But after appealing his case, Watson finally got his trial in front of a jury, who threw out his charge after deliberating for less than an hour. The jury caught the officers in multiple lies throughout the course of the trial and were struck by the fact that this whole thing could have been prevented had the officers been competent enough to respond to the correct house. The fact that the jury was so skeptical of the police and felt sympathy for Watson's situation is a positive indication that the hearts and minds of the average people are starting to understand the dangers of the growing police state.
And I think that's a very telling statement right there. And hopefully it's an encouraging statement.
Well, this article was written by John Vibes of thefreethoughtproject.com, and I just want to give a hat tip to John Vibes for his persistent and thorough blogging at freethoughtproject.com. He's constantly covering stories like these, and they're too important to pass up. So kudos, John. Thanks for always getting these stories out there.
Yeah, he spoke at PorkFest as well. I have a couple things with him.
Yes.
PorkFest. He talked about publishing in the 21st century, and he did a talk on art and activism.
Yep, and he's got a book out called Alchemy of the Timeless Renaissance. Well worth picking up.
When's his speech going to be on public access, Eric?
I don't know yet.
Soon, hopefully.
We got a lot.
Yes, and you're going to be running a lot of shows on the local cable access network, aren't you? Is that part of your cop blocking strategy, Eric?
No, I don't think. It's just Liberty in general. But, you know, I'm getting as much Liberty content out there as possible. So I have a regular time slot on public access now that I will be filling an hour every week with Liberty-oriented talks from the state. Considering that we have enough conferences that happen that have enough talks going on, I'm pretty much set indefinitely. Between just PorkFest and Liberty Forum, I'll never run out. Be good.
Well, there was something else weird that happened in the world of the police state, and it just caught my radar from photographyisnotacrime.com earlier today. A Southern California police officer arrested a man for recording, quote, private cars from a public sidewalk. You heard that correct. He was video recording private cars from a public sidewalk. So last time I checked, when you're out in public, you have no expectation of privacy. That means
and your car is not you.
Nope, it is not you. So when you're out in your car and you're picking your nose, people can see you and they can take video of that, okay? And they're not invading your privacy, because just because you think you've got this invisible bubble shield around you doesn't make it true. We can see you, and we're going to video record you. There's nothing private about your car. Once you're out there in the public world, you can be video recorded. So this police officer who arrested this man not only violated the law, but he's setting a bad precedent. The Covina police officer named Kay Counts handcuffed the man when he refused to provide identification. Talk about setting a bad standard. Claiming that they were looking for a suspect on the loose, and that it could have very well been the man with the camera who decided...
Now, I don't get that. How could his identification have anything to do... They would... Even if he gave him his identification, they wouldn't know that it was him.
Yep. They don't even... Yeah, it wouldn't have helped. Wouldn't have helped identify the man, right? Someone committed a crime, and then they go back to the scene of the crime with a video camera? Really?
Right, and if they don't know the guy's name, getting the ID from this guy isn't going to help.
Well, from the video, it didn't appear to be much of a manhunt. There were no helicopters or cops searching yards. There were just a group of cops talking to some citizens from several yards away, when the man, who goes by Damon Enns on YouTube, identified himself as David to the officer. The cop then told him that he had the right to pat him down for officer safety reasons, right? Because nothing could be more important than officer safety.
If you don't let me touch your penis, you hate America.
This is not a Terry stop. This is not a legit Terry stop.
Right.
So there is no need to pat him down.
Oh, no.
And there's no legal reason to
Officer
be able
safety,
to.
Man, officer safety comes first. You have to remember that. It's important.
David,
Families you get home to.
David obliged to let himself be patted down, which was when the cop knocked the camera out of his hand and handcuffed him. David's mother came out and picked up the camera, continuing to record, good for her, pleading with the cop to release her son, but the cop insisted that he was, quote, obstructing my investigation. Another cop came up and walked towards his mother, which is when the video stops. The incident took place just a few weeks ago, June 30th, 2014, and David was incarcerated for 6 hours. Charges, though, have since been dropped.
And I hope he sues the shit out of him.
Me too.
Because that's how it should go.
I hope cops are held accountable.
Yeah. All right. Be sure to tune in next Wednesday at 10 p.m. at LRN.FM. And now that Derrick has joined the club, I'm sure he'll be here with us. So until then, remember that badges don't grant extra rights.
If you're looking for work, it's a process of elimination, and you're trying not to be eliminated. So here's a tip for making the cut.
All right. That was fun, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. That was good, man.
Someone in the chat room is asking, what's a Terry stop?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
Oh, me too. It's a race. Boom. Got it.
So, did you see the article about this cop had to ironically fight for his right to go oink? Did you see that?
Are you for real?
Yeah. So
fight for his right to what?
To go oink. So what they're talking about is apparently he was a cop and his license plate said oink, and the state of Indiana decided it was inappropriate and they revoked it.
Oh my God. You know, the same thing is happening in New Hampshire where a guy got vanity plates that says cops lie. And the state of New Hampshire decided they're not going to release any more vanity plates. They're just like, look what people can do. Yes, that's not a lot. That's not a
you're
joke.
Smarter than we are.
Yeah.
Damn it.
They're like,
well, he took him to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, nope, he's fine.
Yeah, that guy won.
So what's a Terry stop in layman terms?
It's basically a precedent set that somebody who is where they're not supposed to be can be stopped, but of course it requires reasonable suspicion.
Right. It basically
and gives them the right to pat down the outer garments of an individual for weapons.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
It's pretty much the am I being detained thing, or can you articulate crime you suspect me of committing? That's pretty much where, you know, Terry stop. It was Terry v. Ohio, I think.
Yep.
So, yeah, and that's where it came from.
Basically, a traffic stop would be a Terry stop.
So I recorded this episode, and I recorded video as well. I want to know if maybe you guys would want to join me on video next time, or if you would be interested, Eric, in having these videos maybe as something that you could contribute to Cheshire TV. Just something to think about, not something you have to answer now.
Yeah.
But check it out. It'll be on DerrickJ.me when you want to take a look.
All right, yeah, I don't think, since we don't have any on-airs, we can definitely cut out commercials, and that'd be fine to go on to Cheshire TV. And we'd have to put it on, well, although we'd have to put it on late at night unless we blank out all the swearing.
Yeah, it would just be a late night show probably, so we don't have to blank out the swearing. That'd be a pain.
Yeah.
All right, rad. Well, I'll catch you guys later.
Yeah, man.
All right,
Thanks,
cool.
Derek.
Thanks for having me.
Later.
Whoops, I forgot this was still recording. I'm having a discussion with someone in the chat room who's saying, oh, hey, Derek, you're a fascist because you want to video record people in public. And I'm like, okay, seriously? You don't own the photons that bounce off of your face. If you're walking out in public and there are photons from the sun bouncing off you and bouncing into my camera, now I own them. I have captured them with my camera and I have converted them into an energy source that I will use to display this video. I haven't violated any property rights, and you actually can leave, whereas some people say, like, well, if you don't like it, you can leave about the government. Well, you can't really leave and join it. You know, there's no place without a government. But in a public space, you absolutely can leave, and you don't have a higher claim to that public space than I do. If we're on private property, you can tell me, get the hell out of here. I don't want you filming me, and I have to accept that. It's your property. But if it's a public space, which there probably wouldn't be much of in a voluntary, like a voluntarist anarchist society, but if somehow there were a public space, it's unclaimed land, you don't have some higher claim to tell me I can't record you. We're both in public, we've chosen to be out there, I'm going to record you. Period. Anyway, if you want to check out more videos like this one, visit derrickj.me.